Revealed, midnight call transforms CEO's life as he learns she's leaving. Her last words shock. The quiet hum of the evening served as a backdrop to the warm glow of Tom Jenkins's home. The aroma of his mother's famous meatloaf wafted through the air, filling the cozy space with comfort. Laughter echoed from the backyard where his children played tag, their joyous shrieks punctuating the tranquility. But as the clock struck midnight, the peaceful atmosphere shattered when the shrill ring of the phone cut through the calm. Tom picked up on the second ring, his heart racing. "Hello?" The voice on the other end was shaky, his sister Sarah, back from her deployment, but not the radiant presence he remembered. "Tom, I'm leaving." The admission hung in the air, heavy with unspoken burdens. Her tears traveled across the distance between them, and he felt his heart drop. Sarah was a decorated veteran who had fought for their country, an inspiration to many. Yet now, she stood at a precipice he never expected, one that threatened to tear their family apart. As he listened, memories flooded Tom's mind, sleepless nights in their small family home where hard work shaped their lives, loyalty was everything, and dreams were woven into the very fabric of their existence. He wanted to shatter the silence, to tell her that she wasn't alone, but the words wouldn't come. The dread of a family fracture settled in. Torn between modernizing the family business and holding on to the roots that defined who he was, Tom felt the chasm widen. "Sarah, wait," he stumbled over his words, searching for a lifeline. "You can't leave." But she whispered her greatest fear, PTSD. She worried that her departure would leave their aging parents vulnerable. Just then, the call turned urgent. A corporate rival was circling, ready to pounce on the family's legacy. The sharpness of betrayal pulsed through him like cold steel. Tom had fought hard to ensure the family business was a shining beacon in the community, yet now it felt more like an impending battlefield. Tom felt the rage rise within him, a furious flame igniting his sense of duty. He began digging into Sarah's past, uncovering letters hidden beneath the layers of her service. Each word revealed sacrifices and dreams burned away during sleepless nights, all for the belief in the American dream. Her courage drove him to rally friends and neighbors, igniting a movement rooted in community support, proving that they could weather any storm together. However, as they patched gaps between them, years of misunderstanding tumbled out like confetti. Their late-night calls became fraught with emotion, each argument unearthing fears buried deep. Love and resentment intertwined like a tangled vine, suffocating yet beautiful. Then came another phone call, one that would alter everything. Their mother's voice trembled through the receiver. "Tom, you need to come home right away. I think your father is having a heart attack." The word settled like frost on his heart. In that moment, the world stopped, and Tom stood suspended between fear of losing his father, the needs of his sister, and the looming specter of corporate disaster. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Tom drew in a long breath, ready to embrace what lay ahead, a fight for his family, their values, and the legacy woven through years of love and sacrifice. Would he stand united with Sarah, or face the corporate threat alone? The weight of the choices loomed large, and Tom realized the answer would shape their family history forever. The car ride to the hospital felt both surreal and agonizing. Tom gripped the steering wheel tightly, his knuckles white. The headlights sliced through the darkness, illuminating fleeting shadows of trees and buildings that blurred past. Each second echoed with urgency as his mind raced. His father, the cornerstone of their family, lay in an ER room, and Tom could already feel the shadows creeping in. What if they lost him? Arriving at the hospital, a wave of sensation hit him. The antiseptic smell, the blaring lights, and the waves of anxious families waiting for news floated through the air. Tom's heart pounded as he rushed through the double doors, searching for his mother. When he found her, she sat in a plastic chair, a look of heartbreak etched on her face. Tears shimmered in her eyes as she whispered, "He's in surgery, Tom." The word struck him, a punch to the gut, and he sank into the chair beside her. "What happened?" he managed to ask, his voice trembling. "He just collapsed. One moment he was joking about the meatloaf you made, the next he was on the floor," she sniffled, wiping her eyes with her sleeve. Tom felt anger bloom inside him, anger at how quickly life could shift, how fragile everything was. In that moment, the corporate threat seemed far away, sidelined by the reality of family. "I'll handle everything when he's better." But would he? A distant beeping sounded through the sterile corridor, a reminder of the battle going on behind closed doors. It echoed Tom's own anxious heart. Hadn't Sarah's call exposed the cracks in their family's tree? Now, with their father hanging by a thread, he felt those cracks deepen under the weight of what lay ahead. As the hours passed, time twisted and turned, dragging out agony like taffy. The glow from the waiting room TV flickered, filling the silence with the soft noise of mindless chatter, a stark contrast to the turmoil swirling inside him. He would need to find a way forward, not just for himself, but for Sarah too. This would either fracture them further or bind them closer, he couldn't have both. Finally, the doctor emerged, green scrubs stained with the day's weight draped over tired shoulders. "Mr. Jenkins is stable," he announced, and relief washed over Tom like a tide, but it didn't last. "He's recovering, but there are signs of heart disease. We need to have a serious conversation about lifestyle changes." Tom's thoughts spiraled. His father had always put family first, working late nights and sacrificing personal needs for the business. What would it take to make sure that didn't happen again? The thought of losing their family legacy felt too painful to bear. The doctor continued, but Tom barely registered the words. He looked at his mother, her eyes met his, and in that moment of silent exchange, clarity broke through the chaos. They would pull through this together, he knew, but it would require change, deep, unsettling change. "Mom," Tom said, determination pushing through the fear. "We can't let this destroy our family. We need to talk to Sarah, and we need to talk to Dad when he wakes up." As they sat in the waiting room, memories flooding back of laughter, unity, and the long-held traditions that had sustained them for so long, he realized that the fight wasn't just for business. It was for each other. Just as he began to feel hope, another call came through, this time from Sarah. "Tom, I'm so sorry to hear about Dad. I can come home, I need to be there for you all," she said, her voice heavy with the weight of her own burdens. "Sarah," he paused, memories flooding back again. "We need to face everything as a family. Together." And just when he thought they were taking a step forward, his phone jolted in his hand, a notification. An update from the corporate rival was about to break. What could it possibly say? Tom held his breath as he stared at the screen, anticipation swirling inside him like a storm. His mind raced, the corporate threat loomed larger than ever, but the gravity of their family situation held him captive. He thought of his father, recovering yet fragile, and felt the phone tremble in his grip. Could he really afford to divert his focus now? As he touched the notification, a wave of dread washed over him. He recognized the sender, Amelia, the head of their rival company. What could this possibly entail? Was it another hostile threat? The back and forth had already escalated in recent weeks, and Tom sensed that this might become another front in an already exhausting battle. With one quick motion, he opened the message. Her words flashed across the screen, sharp and clear. "Tom, I know my departure will shake things up, but it's time for a fresh start. This is what I need." He blinked, trying to digest her message. Departure? Fresh start? What did she mean? It felt like a punch in the gut, especially now. Did she plan to upend everything he had built? This was not the time for distractions. His family needed him, yet the business could not be neglected. Tom? His mother's soft voice broke through his haze. Her concerned gaze searched his face. What is it? Amelia, she's leaving. I just got the notification. I need to respond. He felt the weight of the news. It wasn't just about business, it affected them personally. Amelia had been a fierce competitor but also an unexpected ally in tough times. His mother shook her head, worry etched on her features. Do you need to? Can't this wait? Your father. Mom, he interrupted, his voice firmer than he felt. If she's walking away now, it might create new opportunities. But I can't ignore what's happening with Dad. I don't want to lose sight of either family or the business. Tom's heart thundered in his chest. He had never felt such conflicting priorities pull at him so sharply. There was the natural instinct to rally for his father's recovery, but there was also the looming crisis at work. He needed a plan, and fast. As the minutes ticked by, Tom composed a response. He shared his support for Amelia's decision, acknowledging the difficulty but urging her not to underestimate the impact of her exit. It could send tremors through the company's stock and their competitors. Just before he hit send, an idea struck him. This could be the spark they needed. Mom, he said suddenly, a spark of inspiration igniting within him. What if we turned this situation into something that could benefit Dad's recovery and the business? His mother looked puzzled. What do you mean? What if we framed Dad's health as a reason to rebrand the company? An opportunity for a fresh start. Amelia leaving could make way for new ideas and passion. We can shift the focus back to family values. Her eyes brightened, hope shining through. You mean, honor his legacy? That might just resonate right now. Tom smiled, feeling a sense of relief wash over him. This could unite them all. It could draw Sarah back home with purpose. They would need her insight too, she had ideas that always brought a fresh perspective. Before he could elaborate, another notification pinged on his phone. It was a follow-up from Amelia, but this one held something far more vital than business strategy. I have something to tell you. It's about your dad and me. An icy shiver trickled down Tom's spine. What could she possibly know? Mom, he whispered, voice trembling. This isn't just about the business anymore. It might echo into our family too. As silence fell between them, everything felt precarious. Their legacy teetered on the edge. Would they be prepared for whatever storm lay ahead? He took a deep breath, bracing himself to uncover whatever truth Amelia had to share that would tether the fates of both family and business irrevocably. Tom's heart slammed against his chest as he stared at the glowing screen, the words swirling in his mind like a tornado. It's about your dad and me. What could Amelia possibly mean? Surely, whatever she was about to reveal wouldn't just put the family in a tailspin but also shake the very ground beneath the company they had nurtured together. Tom? His mother's voice broke the spell. She stepped closer, her eyes wide with concern. Are you okay? He swallowed hard, trying to find words that made sense. Mom, I think there's more going on here than just business. Amelia never shares personal things. His fingers hovered over the screen. Each passing second felt like an eternity. He had to muster the courage to open the message. I have to read it, he finally said, his voice a whisper filled with dread. With a deep breath, he tapped on the notification, revealing the full contents of her message. Tom, I've been meaning to tell you your father isn't just dealing with health issues. I've been close to him, more than you know. I hope you can forgive me for what will come next. I think it's time for you to hear the truth about everything. Tom's pulse quickened. This wasn't just a simple exit strategy for Amelia, it felt like the unraveling of something that had been tightly wounded for years. He looked at his mother, panic etched on her face as realization washed over her. What could she mean? she asked, her voice trembling just like his fingers. I don't know, Mom. He could feel the weight of something heavy and dark pressing down on them. The air in the room felt thick, as if a storm were brewing outside, drowning out every hopeful thought he had about a plan to unite the family and rebrand the company. His mind raced through possibilities. Had Amelia been hiding something from them? Did she know more about his father's condition? The tension felt unbearable. Another notification pinged, drawing him back into the moment. A follow-up message flashed on the screen. Please meet me. I can explain everything. Tonight. It's a matter of urgency. A chill went through him. He sensed a shift, the kind of shift that could change everything both at home and at work. The stakes were rising, and the consequences could be dire. Mom, what if Tom began cautiously, what if Amelia knows something about Dad's health that we don't? Something serious? His mother's eyes darted toward the window, filled with fear and uncertainty. What if she's right? He took her hands in his, seeking strength from her warmth. We have to go. If there's even a chance Amelia can help us understand what we're facing, we owe it to Dad to find out. She nodded, her resolve solidifying under the weight of urgency. They had worked too hard, fought too fiercely to lose everything over misunderstandings or unspoken truths. All right, she said, taking a deep breath. Let us do this together. As Tom typed back a quick acknowledgement, everything felt both clearer and murkier. What revelations awaited them? With the message sent, he felt a mixture of anxiety and determination. He would protect his family, but he had no idea what he was stepping into. As they prepared for the evening ahead, the clock ticked ever onward, marking time as if they were counting down to an unavoidably consequential meeting with fate. What would Amelia unveil that could change everything? They could only hope they were ready for the truth that lay ahead. And as they sat in the heavy silence, both grappling with unvoiced anxieties, tension hung in the air like a thundercloud. What awaited them in Amelia's heart, and how would it reverberate through the bonds of their family? The drive to the cafe felt surreal, each red light forcing Tom to confront the questions pulsating in his mind. His hands gripped the steering wheel tightly as he turned to glance at his mother. Her pale face was almost ghostly under the bright lights flashing by. She was staring out the window, lost in her thoughts. Do you trust her? Tom blurted, breaking the silence that had wrapped around them like a fog. His mother turned her head slowly, her brow furrowed. I don't know, Tom. Amelia has been a part of our lives for so long, but what she's implying? It feels like we're walking into a minefield. Yeah. Tom nodded, trying to push down his own unease. The whole situation felt like a bad dream, something they would wake up from. But if she knows something, we can't ignore it. Finally, they pulled into the parking lot. The cafe was buzzing with the hum of conversation, laughter spilling out into the cool night air. Tom stepped out of the car, the tension in his chest tightening. As they approached the entrance, Tom's heart raced. What if, he hesitated, afraid to voice his fears. What if this isn't just about Dad? What if it's about Amelia? What if Tom, his mother interrupted, her voice firm but soft, we'll face this together. Whatever it is. He took a deep breath, grounding himself. You're right. Inside, the lights were dim, casting soft shadows on tables occupied with couples and friends. Tom spotted Amelia at a corner booth, her head bent slightly over her phone. She looked up as they approached, a mix of sadness and determination in her eyes. Tom, thank you for coming, she said, her voice steady but quiet. Let us just get to it, he said, the impatience creeping in. You said you needed to tell us something urgent. Of course, she replied, glancing at his mother before taking a deep breath. First, I want to clarify that I care about your family. I truly do. Then explain, Tom urged, frustration bubbling under the surface. What is going on with Dad? Amelia shifted in her seat, pursing her lips as she gathered her thoughts. I didn't want to bring this up, but your father he and we've been talking more about his health, yes. But there's something deeper. Deeper? Tom echoed, frustration morphing into confusion. What do you mean? There's something I've kept to myself for too long, she said, her voice dropping to a near whisper. Your father and I have been working together on a project, one that began long before his health issues. It was meant to protect the company, and I know it sounds strange, but it's tied to our family's legacy. Tom felt a knot tighten in his stomach. What are you talking about? Amelia leaned forward, her gaze piercing. Your dad's health isn't just declining. He's made choices that could affect everything. Choices you deserve to know about. I was hesitant to bring his struggles to the forefront, but Tom's thoughts spiraled. What choices? What does that mean? Please, just let me explain, she begged, urgency plain in her voice. You need to understand where he's coming from, and how it connects to everything we're facing now. As the weight of Amelia's words settled in the air between them, Tom felt the ground beneath him shift. Was this all a carefully orchestrated plan? Or was it a desperate attempt to save something that felt irrevocably broken? His mother squeezed his hand under the table, grounding him for a moment. All right, we're listening, she said, her voice steady, but Tom could see the fear lurking in her eyes. Amelia took another breath, a deep one this time, preparing to reveal something that could shatter their lives as they knew it. Before you judge me, she said, just understand one thing, the man you think you know has held more secrets than anyone could imagine. Tom's heart raced again. What do you mean? And before Amelia could answer, a loud crash echoed from the entrance. They turned just in time to see a figure rush in, panic etched on their face. Suddenly, everything shifted again, another layer of chaos piling on top of what was already unraveling. Who was this intruder, and what did they want that could change the course of what Amelia was about to reveal? The figure stumbled into the cafe, breathless and wide-eyed, scanning the room like a hunted animal. Tom's adrenaline surged as he squinted to get a better look. It was a young woman, maybe in her 20s, eyes darting back and forth, searching for someone. Hey! Over here! She shouted, her voice breaking through the ambient noise of chatter. Tom exchanged a quick glance with his mother, a mix of concern and confusion etched on their faces. Amelia's expression shifted from guilt to panic as she recognized the young woman. Grace! Amelia exclaimed, rising from her seat. What's wrong? The rush of footsteps filled the cafe as Grace rushed to their booth, her breaths came in heaving gasps. I didn't know where else to go. I had to find you, Amelia, she said, her voice cracking. What's going on? Amelia pressed, urgency lacing her words. Tom felt the world around him fade. The questions, where was this leading? What could be so important to make Grace burst in like this? It's about your father, Grace said, a tremor in her voice. I found something that could change everything. Tom felt his pulse quicken as the whole room grew still. The chatter dimmed, replaced by the weight of Grace's revelation. Change what? He asked, frustration boiling over. What do you mean? Grace looked directly at Tom, tears in her eyes. I was at the office, and I saw something on Dad's desk. He's been working on plans that could ruin the company. He's involved in something shady, and I think he's in over his head. Tom felt a mixture of disbelief and dread wash over him. What are you saying? What kind of plans? Amelia reached for Grace's arm. If he's in trouble, we need to know everything. This could be worse than we thought. Just listen, Grace continued, her voice steadying as she found her rhythm. He's been meeting with some people you wouldn't believe. People who have connections that could destroy the company. I overheard conversations that night, they were discussing plans that seemed illegal. Tom's mind raced. Every moment he spent worrying about his father's health suddenly felt trivial next to the possible betrayal of everything they held dear. But Dad wouldn't he do that? He wouldn't he. Grace shook her head, frustration mixing with sorrow. He didn't tell me everything. I was just the intern. You have to understand, he's been hiding things from everyone. It's like he doesn't recognize the danger he's in. Amelia's face turned pale, her hands trembled as she spoke. Tom, if what Grace is saying is true, we have to confront him. Now. Confront him? Tom echoed, the idea striking him with an urgent force. You think he's just going to admit it? After everything? I don't know, Grace replied, her voice softening. But he might. He trusts you. Tom's heart raced, caught between anger and a fierce loyalty to his father. I need to speak to him. Right now. As he stood up, his chair scraping against the floor, the weight of his decision loomed large. Should he really confront his father? Could the man he looked up to be capable of something so destructive? Let us go, he said, determination rising within him like a flame. But before he could take another step, the front door swung open again. A man barged in, his demeanor wild and frantic. Where is he? He shouted, eyes scanning the room until they landed on Tom. I need to speak to Thomas Gallagher. The air in the cafe crackled with tension. A stranger, a storm now brewing, and the truth hanging in the balance. Tom's breath caught. Who was this man? And what did he know that could tip everything over the edge? Wait! Tom shouted, forcing their attention back to him. Who are you? As the stranger stepped closer, something about his expression made Tom's heart pound. It was like looking into a mirror reflecting a world he never knew existed. Your father, he's in trouble, the man said, urgency bleeding through his words. And if we don't act now, it may be too late. With every word, Tom felt a new wave of dread engulf him. What had he just stepped into? And what secrets were threatening to destroy their family? Tom's heart raced, the urgency of the stranger's words pulsating in the cafe air like an impending storm. The clatter of dishes and the sound of coffee being poured faded, replaced by the sharp thud of realization. Grace stood frozen, eyes wide, her mouth parted in disbelief. What do you mean, in trouble? Tom's voice cracked, betraying the fear welling up inside him. What kind of trouble? The man took a deep breath, as if the weight of his knowledge pressed down on him harder than any burden he'd carried before. Your father has gotten himself involved with some dangerous people. I tried to warn him, but he wouldn't listen. Dangerous. The word hung in the air like a blade ready to fall. Tom's mind raced with visions of his father, a man he admired, now swamped in a world he knew nothing of. What kind of people? Amelia interjected, her voice a mixture of authority and concern. You can't just drop a bomb like that and not explain. I can't say too much, the man stammered, his eyes darting nervously. But your dad has been meeting with someone named Aaron Voss. They're involved in, well, projects that are not legal. And if they find out he's trying to back out or spill the truth, they won't hesitate to take action. Tom's breath caught in his throat. Aaron Voss, a name known for the kind of dealings that whispered through business corridors, never spoken in polite company. What action? He pressed, his voice low but intense. The man stepped forward, a flash of fear crossing his features. Look, I can't be the one who tells you how deep this goes. I only know that if they think he's about to betray them, they might come after you. All of you. Us? Grace gasped, stepping back slightly. It felt surreal, a nightmare inching closer, the shadows starting to envelop them. Yes, the stranger nodded urgently. This isn't just about your father anymore. It's about your entire family. You need to get to him before it's too late. Amelia looked at Tom, her eyes holding both fear and a mother's fierce determination. We have to go find him. Now. Tom nodded, adrenaline coursing through him. No more waiting. The stakes had suddenly escalated into something he never dreamed possible. He turned to the man. You said you tried to warn him. Can you help us find him? Of course, but we need to move quickly. They've been watching him closely, the man replied urgently. We have to get to the office, he might still be there. Without another word, Tom led the way as they rushed out of the cafe, hearts pounding, urgency hanging in the air like a thick fog. The streets blurred around them, an angry pulse in a world that now felt unrecognizable. As they neared his father's office, an unsettling thought twisted in Tom's gut. What if they arrived too late? What if the man they were rushing to save was already lost? Bright lights illuminated the building as they approached, the facade tall and imposing. Every step felt heavy with anticipation. Would they find his father? Would they uncover the truth before it tore their family apart? As they reached the office door, Tom hesitated, his hand hovering over the doorknob. He exchanged a quick look with Grace and Amelia, each of them carrying the weight of what lay ahead. I'm ready, Tom said, the words barely escaping his lips as he took a deep breath. But then, a sound came from within, raised voices, a shout that sent ice down his spine. They weren't alone. Go, now. The stranger urged, pushing Tom forward. Tom turned the handle, a jolt of fear electrifying his senses as he stepped inside. What waited for them? Was it fear, betrayal, or something much worse? And as the scene unfolded before him, everything changed in an instant, shattering hope and igniting a whirlwind of uncertainty. What awaited them in that room might just reshape their lives forever. The door swung open, the scene inside hitting Tom like a brick wall. The office was dimly lit, shadows dancing along the walls, and at the far end, his father stood facing a figure whose presence seemed to suck the air from the room. Tom's heart lurched. Dad! He shouted, but his voice barely pierced through the sizzle of tension. The man in front of his father turned, revealing a slick smile that didn't reach his eyes, a snake hiding behind a charming facade. What are you doing here? His father's voice was strained, the tightness in his jaw betraying his nerves. Tom, get back. The stranger urged from behind him, pushing Tom gently. Amelia and Grace were frozen just inside the door, caught between instinct and fear. Aaron, please, Tom's father said with a hint of desperation. I told you I want out. This isn't what I signed up for. Aaron took a step forward, his demeanor shifting. You think you can just walk away? This isn't a game, Richard. You made a deal, and we both know the consequences of breaking that deal. That name, Richard, felt foreign in Tom's ears. It was how he knew his father to be among business associates, but to hear it spoken with such disdain made his stomach turn. We need to discuss this calmly, his father pressed, trying to regain control of the situation. Tom's pulse quickened, knowing how fragile this moment was. This might be the last chance for clarity before everything spiraled out of control. What more is there to talk about? Aaron spat, his hands clenching into fists. Either you're in, or you're dead. Simple as that. A chilling silence fell, and Tom's mind raced. Dead? The implications were suffocating. Frantic energy surged through him, searching for a way to intervene without provoking anger. Listen, I don't want any trouble, Tom found the courage to speak up, stepping further into the office. Just let him go. His father's eyes widened, a flicker of panic crossing his face. Tom, no. It's too dangerous. But the words slipped out before anyone could stop him. He could feel Amelia and Grace's eyes on him, the weight of their shared fear was thick in the air. Aaron leaned back, amusement lighting his expression. And what do you think you could do, kid? This isn't a playground, this is real life. What do you know about real life? Tom shot back, the anger igniting within him. You're holding my father against his will. He's not your pawn. For a moment, the room teetered on the edge of chaos. A flicker of understanding passed between Tom and his father, each knowing the stakes were rising. Aaron's smile faded, replaced by a cold glare. Family or business, they always get so messy, he mused, eyeing Tom like a piece on a chessboard. Should I deal with you now or wait? Don't you dare. Grace finally shouted, stepping closer, a protective energy radiating off her. You don't want this fight. At that moment, a phone rang sharply, cutting through the mounting tension. Aaron's attention shifted, just enough for Tom's father to glance at his son, a silent plea forming in his eyes. Tom, you have to trust me. Get out now, while you still can, he whispered, urgency choking his voice. Tom hesitated, caught between danger and the instinct to protect. They needed answers, but could he risk losing everything in pursuit of truth? Go. His father urged again as Aaron's gaze hardened. Tom felt like he was breaking apart, torn between a desire to fight for his family and an overwhelming fear of the consequences. And just as the tension reached a boiling point, Tom realized something fundamental: you don't always get to choose the life you want, sometimes, life chooses for you. He turned, propelled by adrenaline, and ran towards the door, each heartbeat a reminder of his father's struggle. But what awaited him outside was just as uncertain. Did they escape, or would the danger follow them into the night? As they burst onto the street, the chill of danger still hung in the air, leaving Tom to wonder just how far this shadowy world of betrayal would reach. Did we lose them? Grace panted, looking back towards the office as though expecting Aaron to emerge with a furious retaliation. Tom's throat tightened. I don't know. But we can't stop now. We need to figure out what happens next before they find us. And with that unsteady resolve, Tom recognized they were just beginning to peel back the layers of this dark web they found themselves caught in. How deep did it go? What would it take to get his father back? With every step they took into the uncertainty ahead, the reality grew clearer: this was just the beginning of a fight they had never anticipated. Tom led the way, adrenaline coursing through him. The street felt alive, an electric hum beneath their feet as the shadows behind them threatened with dark intentions. Grace kept close, her hand brushing against his, a silent reassurance in a chaotic storm. Amelia followed, her eyes darting nervously toward every noise, every passing car. The air was thick with fear, yet also with determination. Where do we go? Grace finally asked, her voice steadying as they turned a corner, putting distance between them and that oppressive office. We need a plan. Tom shook his head, the thoughts racing through him. We need a safe place somewhere they won't think to look for us. But the reality dawned on him. They didn't have time to waste. Back to your house? Amelia suggested hesitantly. Your mom. No, Tom shot down the idea immediately. She'll be worried sick. If Aaron knows where we are, it puts her in danger. And the police? Grace chimed in, glancing nervously over her shoulder. They won't help us. Not yet, Tom replied, weighing his options, frustration clawing at his insides. We need to find something solid first. Some evidence, something that tells us what we're up against. They slipped into an alleyway, shadows wrapping around them like an embrace. The stillness felt eerie, exaggerated by their quickened breaths. Tom's heart hammered. There was no way he was letting Aaron get to his father. Why would your dad get involved with someone like Aaron in the first place? Grace asked, breaking the silence. The question hung heavily in the air. Tom could see flashes of his father, always so calm and collected. I don't know. It must have been a desperate situation or a deal he never expected to go south, Amelia added, biting her lip. Then we need to find out what that deal was, Tom declared, more to himself than to the others. If we know what they want, maybe we can leverage it to get him back. Tom's mind raced, and then an idea sparked. What about his office? There must be something there we could use. It's too risky, Grace warned, anxiously scanning the alley entrance. No, it's the best shot we have, he countered, facing them with resolve. If we can get into his files or grab anything that proves what Aaron is really about, it could shift the balance. Tom could see their apprehension, but he felt the urge rise in him. They had to act. Listen, we don't have much choice. We can't just sit here and wait to be found. Finally, the determination in his voice switched something in Grace. Okay. Let us do it. Their plan set in motion, they moved as fast as they could. Each footfall felt like thunder in the stillness, but an odd sense of purpose surged within them. Tom felt a responsibility heavier than ever. It was about protecting his father but also about facing down whatever darkness lay ahead. As they neared the familiar building, dread seeped back into Tom's thoughts. What if Aaron was still inside? What if he was waiting? Stay alert, Tom urged as they approached the door. We need to be fast and quiet. Glancing at their surroundings, they made their way inside, hearts pounding as the door creaked open. The dim light of the office loomed ahead, casting elongated shadows that danced like specters across the floor. Tom's stomach twisted with both fear and determination. They were stepping into the lioness den, the very center of a game that had already claimed so much. Okay, he whispered, taking a deep breath, let's find out what secrets this place is hiding. With that, they moved deeper into the office, each step echoing their racing hearts. But as Tom flicked on a lamp, illuminating a desk piled with papers, an ominous realization gripped him. Sometimes, the past doesn't just linger, it hunts. What if every secret they uncovered opened the door to new dangers? In that moment, the stakes grew higher. As they sifted through papers and files, little did they know the clock was ticking and Aaron was closer than they thought. Would they uncover the truth before it was too late? The office felt like a labyrinth of secrets as Tom, Grace, and Amelia scoured through the clutter, each second in their pulling them deeper into a danger they never saw coming. The dim light flickered, casting shadows that seemed to dance along the walls, just as the chaos of their lives danced dangerously close to the edge. Tom's hands trembled, not just from fear, but from the thrill of purpose. We need to find anything about Aaron and the deal, he urged, digging through piles of paper, desperation mixing with hope as he promised himself they would uncover the truth. Grace flipped through a document that sent chills racing down her spine. These contracts, they're signed with blood money, she exclaimed. He's in way over his head. The realization hit Tom hard. His father, a man who had always stood tall, was now shrouded in shadows of deceit. We have to show this to Dad, he whispered, determination igniting in his chest. But the gnawing reality of the threat from Aaron loomed over them. The walls felt like they were closing in. Just then, Amelia spotted a file labeled Operations in the corner of the desk. Her eyes widened. Tom, look. If this details Aaron's connections. Before she could finish, footsteps echoed from the hallway, their harshness cutting through the dim light like an omen. Tom's heart was pounding in his ears. We need to go. Now. He hissed, panic starting to unravel the courage he'd built. They scrambled to gather evidence but then froze when the office door swung open, letting in a rush of cold air and the unmistakable figure of Aaron. His gaze swept the room, sharp as a hawk as he processed the scene in an instant. What are you doing here? He growled, stepping inside like a storm. Tom's body surged with panicked energy as he instinctively moved to shield Grace and Amelia behind him. We were just what? Aaron interrupted, a derisive smirk crossing his face. What do you think you'll find that I don't already know? The tension in the room hit a boiling point. You don't scare us. Tom shot back, adrenaline fueling his defiance, though he felt a tremor in his legs. You can't control our family, you can't control our lives. Aaron's smile faltered, his brows furrowing. You think this is about control? This is survival, boy. You've no idea what you're involved in. A spark of defiance flared in Tom's chest. We'll expose you. Whatever you're planning with Dad ends tonight. Brave words, Aaron sneered, but the threat behind his eyes rippled with menace. I suggest you rethink your position. In that moment of unyielding fear, Tom felt a wave of clarity wash over him. This wasn't just about saving his father, it was about reclaiming their lives. You think we're afraid of you? He challenged, voice steadying like a steel rod. You're nothing but a bully, hiding behind manipulation and threats. The room charged with static energy, and as Aaron stepped forward, he suddenly halted, uncertainty dancing in his expression. You've got guts, kid. I'll give you that. But guts without brains will get you dead. Before he could advance, a sudden crash echoed outside, causing Aaron to whirl around, distracted by the noise. What the hell was that? He muttered, glancing back at Tom with narrowed eyes. You think this is a game? Tom wasted no time. Grace, Amelia, go. He yelled, urgency erupting within him. Get what you can and head to the back. The three moved as one, the adrenaline spiking through their veins, dodging Aaron's frustrated attempts to reclaim control. As Tom grabbed the file Amelia had discovered moments ago, he turned back to see Aaron poised at the door, a menacing glint in his eyes. No one leaves, he hissed. But a shout erupted from outside, unraveling Aaron's concentration. You have to leave now, Tom. It was a voice he recognized, his sister Sarah. The sound of her urgency was like a siren, and it jolted Tom awake. Rushing past Aaron, he shouted, Sarah, we're coming. Together, they burst out of the office's back exit, the air sharp with cold, adrenaline thrumming through every step. As they stormed out onto the street, they found Sarah waiting, wild-eyed and ready for battle. I heard everything outside. You felt the storm brewing, didn't you? She grabbed Tom's arm, urgency crackling in the air between them. Yes, but we have proof, he stammered, panting. We can bring it to Dad, this could save him. Together, they slipped into the night, the sense of unity bolstering their spirits. They were bound by something deeper now, love, fear, determination. Tom, Sarah said, shooting him a steady look, whatever comes next, we'll face it together. The storm wasn't over. They knew that. But together, they would fight through it, protect their family, and heal the fractures that threatened to consume them. They approached their father's office, guardians of hope and truth, ready to confront whatever darkness lay ahead. And as they stood united, the shadows seemed to recede just a little. Together was their strongest weapon, a beacon in a tempest. In that brief moment of hope, Tom felt the shift, the warmth of resolve igniting in his heart. They could do this. They had to do this. And no one would take their family's legacy away from them, not now, not ever. Remember, folks. Subscribe immediately to this channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that shape lives like this one. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm seriously, it makes a difference. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this explosive ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. They deserve it. You need to support the channel. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.